Guys, is my voice clear for everyone? Is my voice clear for everyone? Yeah, perfect. Good morning. Today we are going to start with another important tool that every developer should know, that is version control software. What is this version control software? Why we need to go for version control software? And if you see, in the real time, one project will contain multiple developers. So a team of developers will be available who are going to work on the project. Project contains multiple developers, and those developers will be working from different locations. Some people will be available in Hyderabad location, some people in Hyderabad, some people in Bangalore, some people in Chennai. So in one project, multiple developers will be available. So project contains multiple developers, and those developers will be working from different locations. When the developers are working from different locations, we can see two problems in the project. The first problem, how to integrate all the developers code at one place. So some team members in Hyderabad, some team members in Bangalore, some team members in US, some people are in UK. All are working on the same project. When multiple people are working on the same project, then how can we integrate all the developers code at one place? That is the first problem. Then what is the second problem? Okay, problem 2, how to monitor or how to track code changes of our application. Project contains multiple developers, and the developers will be working from different locations. How to integrate all the developers code into one place? That is the biggest challenge, because I am working on the login functionality, you are working on registration functionality, somebody working on forgot password functionality. So when multiple developers are working from different locations, then how to integrate all the developers code at one place? That is the first problem. Second problem, how to monitor or how to track code changes in our application. So here, these are the two problems will be available in the real time. Monitoring the code changes, nothing but who modified our code, when they modified our code, what they modified, and why they modified. So when we are working in the team, your code somebody is modifying, why they modified, when they modified, what they modified, who modified. So you need to track these changes also. Okay, so these are the two problems will be available in the real time. Project contains multiple developers, and developers will be working from different locations. So the problem 1, how to integrate all the developers code at one place and how to track the code changes. Okay, to resolve these two problems in the real time, we are going to use version control softwares. We are going to use version control softwares in the real time to resolve code integration problem, to track code changes. When multiple developers are working, one developer code might be modified by another developer, because of that project functionality not working. So to track these things, we are going to use version control softwares. So there are several version control softwares available in the market. Okay, so what are the version control softwares available? One is SVN, second one is GitHub. SVN is available, GitHub is available, and Bitbucket is also available. So like this, we are having multiple version control softwares in the market. So why we are going for version control softwares? For code integration. Multiple developers code we need to integrate at one place, and we should be able to track the changes in the code. Who is modifying the code in the project? When they modified that code? What they modified? Why they modified? Everything we need to track. So to resolve these two problems, we are going to use version control softwares in the real time. There are several version control softwares available in the market. One is called SVN, second one is called GitHub, and the third one is called Bitbucket. So SVN tool, earlier people used SVN, but today in the market SVN got outdated. But today in the market, SVN tool got outdated. People are going with GitHub and Bitbucket. Okay, now let's understand what is this GitHub and why we are going to use this GitHub. What is GitHub? Why we need to use this GitHub? GitHub is a cloud platform which is used to maintain or which is used to integrate source code of our project. So what is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud platform. Using this GitHub, we can maintain source code repositories. Whatever the project code you have, that code you can store in the GitHub source code repositories. So multiple developers are available in the project, right? So multiple developers will be available in the project. All the developers code can be integrated at one place by using this GitHub repositories concept. Okay, so now in our team, there are multiple developers available. They are working from different locations. Now, one developer is available in Hyderabad location, another developer in Chennai, he is in Bangalore, and he is in some other location. For all these developers, one common place is required where they can integrate the source code. So that's where we are going to use GitHub. GitHub is a version control software where we can create the source code repository. Okay, here I'm going to create one repository. Repository is nothing but a place where we are going to store the code, and all these developers will connect to this GitHub repository and they will store their source code into that repository. So all the developers code will be integrated at one place by using this source code repositories. So what is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud platform. Using this GitHub, we can maintain source code repositories for the projects. Using GitHub, we can maintain source code repositories for the project. What is the meaning of source code repositories? Source code repositories are used to store project source code at one place. So multiple people are working on the project development. Multiple people will develop the classes. Okay, all those classes we need to integrate at one place. That's where we are going to take the source code repository. Source code repositories are used to store project source code at one place. And in the real time, for every project, one GitHub repository will be created. Okay, for every project, one GitHub repository will be created. Suppose if your project is having 10 microservices, for every microservice, one GitHub repository will be available. If you are developing a monolithic application, everything will be in one project, so one repository will be available. If your project is microservice based application, so your project contains multiple microservices. For every microservice, one GitHub repository will be created. This Git repository will provide monitored access. What the Git repository will do, guys? Git repository will provide monitored access for our application. Git repository will provide monitored access. Monitored access, nothing but it will track the code changes. It will track code changes. Who is committing the code? Who is modifying that code? When, why, what, where? Everything will be tracked by our GitHub repository. So what is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud platform. Using this GitHub, we can maintain source code repositories for the projects. Source code repositories means they are used to store the source code of the project at one place. For every project, one GitHub repository will be created, and that GitHub repository will provide monitored access. That means it will track our code changes. It will track our code changes. Are you guys clear? Why we are going for version control softwares, guys? Version control softwares are used to integrate the project source code at one place. So a project will contain multiple developers, and the developers will be working from different locations. Developers will be working from different locations. So to track the code changes, we are going to use GitHub repositories. Are you guys clear with my point? Why we are learning GitHub and what is the purpose of going for GitHub? Why we are learning GitHub and what is the purpose of going for GitHub? Are you clear with my point? What is the purpose of GitHub? Multiple developers will be available. So all the developers code should be integrated at one place. For that, we will go for GitHub. And to track the code changes, we are going to use GitHub. So to resolve the above problems, we will use version control softwares. There are several version control softwares available in the market. One is SVN, second one is GitHub, third one is Bitbucket. GitHub is a cloud platform. Using this GitHub, we can maintain source code repositories for the projects. Source code repositories means where we are going to store the project code at one place. For every project, one GitHub repository will be created, and this GitHub repository will be providing monitored access. That means it is going to track the code changes we are making to the project. And the next one, environment setup. So how can I set up my Git repositories in order to do the practice? So first step, you need to create the account in the GitHub, guys, github.com. So you can create a free tier account in the GitHub for your practice. Company will use licensed versions of the GitHub, but as part of the training, for our practice, you can create trial account in the GitHub. So create the account in the GitHub, then download and install Git site client software. Once your account is created, then you are good to go and create the repositories. First step, create account in the GitHub. Then second step, download and install Git client software, guys. Once you download and install the Git client software, you need to configure your name and email ID in the Git bash. So by using these commands, you need to configure your name and your email ID in the Git bash so that Git can track when you are making some code changes to the repository. Git will understand who is making those changes and what is the email ID of that person. So this is the environment setup for our practice. So we need to create account in the GitHub. Then we need to install Git client software. Then we need to configure our name and email ID in the Git bash. Git config --global username I am configuring. Git config --global user email also we are going to configure. This is the environment setup that we need to do. This is the environment setup that we need to do. So let me show you here. I am already having my GitHub account here. Okay. So this is my GitHub account. Let me log in into my GitHub account. Yeah, I have my account. I have authentication code, two-factor authentication I have enabled. Click on send SMS. I will get the code to my mobile number. Yes, I got the GitHub SMS. Yes, my authentication code is successful. I'm able to log in into my GitHub account, guys. I'm able to log in into my GitHub account. Now here you can check in my account. I have created so many repositories. In my account, I have created so many repositories. So Git repositories available. So around 114 GitHub repositories are available. So I have created 114 GitHub repositories. So every repository is related to one project. Every repository is related to one project here. So I have the account in my GitHub. If you don't have the account, then you please create your GitHub account. Then once your GitHub account is created, let's go to Google and download Git client software. Download Git client software. So go to downloads, Git, download for Windows. When you click on this option, Git client software will be downloaded in your system. So you can use standalone installer or portable. Anything is fine, guys. Anything is fine. So let's go and click on this Windows setup standalone installer. When you click on this one, .exe file will be downloaded. GitHub.exe file is downloaded for you. So standalone installer, I have downloaded 64-bit Git for Windows setup. I'm able to install that. So once we have installed that standalone installer, you just go there and install it. .exe file is available. Just double click on that and install that Git installer software. Install that Git installer software. So once you have installed that software, then go to your location where you want to do your projects. Okay, go to your location where you want to do your projects. There you can create one folder, new folder. So I'm creating this folder with a name called Git Practice. Git Practice I have created. Now inside this folder currently we don't have anything. Right click on this and you can see git GUI, git bash options. So that means my git client software is installed. So once you install the git client software, you can see that git GUI, git bash options. If you are able to see these options, that means your git client is installed. So I have account in my GitHub. I have GitHub account, GitHub repository account is available. Then I have installed my Git client software. That's why when I right click on my mouse, I can see Git GUI, Git bash. So once you install this Git client, go to the Git bash terminal. Here you can execute Git commands. So if you want to execute the Git commands, the first step that you need to do, configure your name and email ID. How to configure the name and email ID? Git config -global user dot name. You can give your name. Okay. Then you need to configure your email ID. Git config -global user dot email. So you can configure your email ID here. Okay. Your name and your email ID you can configure so that Git will understand who you are. You need to introduce about yourself to the Git bash by using git config command. So if you do this step, then our setup is completed. Now you can start practice on the GitHub repositories once you complete this setup. So if anybody not completed this setup, could you please complete? I will wait for 2 minutes. I will wait for 2 minutes. Could you please complete this one? You need to create account in the GitHub. That is the first step. Then you need to download and install the Git client software in your system. So this is the URL from where you can download and install the Git client software. Once it is done, open Git bash, configure your name and email ID in the Git bash. Open Git bash and configure your name and email. Okay. So git config global username, your username you can give, your email ID you can give in the git bash. Can you guys complete this setup now? Environment setup in order to work with GitHub. Environment setup in order to work with GitHub. You just need to click next, finish. That's it. When you are installing the Git client software, you just need to click next, finish. That's it. Next, finish. Once you are able to complete this setup, could you please confirm in the chat box? Once you are able to complete the setup, could you please confirm in the chat box? Your setup is completed or not? Without completing this setup, you cannot practice. Without completing the setup, you cannot do the practice. Please confirm quickly. Could you please confirm? Are you done? Perfectly. That's it. Yeah. So once it is done, now before going to start our work with Git repositories, we need to understand Git architecture, guys. We need to understand Git architecture. So when we are working with the Git repositories, multiple developers will be available. Company will provide the GitHub accounts for you. By using your GitHub account, you need to commit your code to the GitHub. You need to take the latest code from the GitHub. So code integration process, every developer should involve in the code integration process in the real time. Company will have their GitHub account, and your company will provide the GitHub access for every developer. Using your GitHub credentials, you need to perform the operations in the GitHub. So how we will perform those operations in the GitHub? Let's understand Git architecture. So the first one, we need to talk about working tree, and the second one, staging area. Working tree will be there, staging area will be available, and local repository will be available, and fourth one, central repository will be available. Working tree will be available, staging area will be available, local repository will be available, and central repository will be available when we go for GitHub. So what is this working tree? What is this staging area, local repository, central repository? Let us try to understand. Now, once you done the GitHub setup and everything, so we are going to create one repository in the GitHub. So this is our GitHub account. So currently we are using our own GitHub account. Tomorrow, once you go to the company will provide the GitHub account for us. Okay. We are using free account in the GitHub. Company will purchase the license of the GitHub, guys. So in the companies, we will use licensed softwares. In the training, we are using trial version softwares for the practice. Now, once your GitHub account is created, you will go and create one Git repository. We are going to create one repository in the GitHub. The repository that we are creating in the GitHub, that is called as central repo or remote repo. It is not there in our system. So GitHub is a cloud platform. In that GitHub, we are going to create one repository. That repository is called as a central repository. So let me show you how to create the repository in the GitHub. For every project, one repository will be created. Repository is used to store source code of the project. Now go to your GitHub account. Once you log in into your GitHub account, here you can see one option called new repositories option, or else you can find out that here also. Go to your profile, your repositories option is available. So whatever the repositories you have created, you can see currently I have 100 plus repositories in my account. Here you can go and click on repositories, and once you are able to see this, click on new. I'm going to create a new repository name I am using. So you can give any name for the repository. I'm giving this name as JRTP 27 application. That is the repository name I am using. Then description for that. So you want to make the repository as a public or private. So you can read the description. Public means anybody can see. They cannot commit to your repository, but they can see your repository. They can download your repository. If anybody want to commit, if they want to do the coding in your project, you need to give the permission for them. Public means anyone on the internet can see the repository. You choose who can commit. Private means you choose who can see and who can commit to this repository. So in the GitHub, we can create two types of repositories, guys. Repository contains all the project files, including the revision history. Okay, so I'm creating one repository to integrate my project source code. All the developers can integrate their code in the repository. Whatever the repository that I'm creating in the GitHub, that repository will have one name, and you can choose the type, either public or private. If I am giving it as a public, so that means anybody can see my repository, but I can decide who can commit to my repository. Private means I need to decide who can see and who can commit to this repository. Currently, I'm going with the public repository. So once you select the public, simply click on create repository. Once the repository is created, one repository URL will be generated. One repository URL will be generated. Using this repository URL only, team members can connect to the repository. Currently, my repository got created and I have generated a URL for the repository, and which is unique repository now. I have created the repository and that repository is currently empty. So the repository that we create in the GitHub, that repository is called as central repository. Jyoti? Yeah, the repository that we created in the GitHub, that repository is called as a central repository. Guys, can you create one central repository and can you send me your repository URL in the chat box? All of you? Can you guys create one repository and send me your repository URL in the chat box? Completed? Are you able to create the repository, guys? Yes. Whatever the repository that you have created in the GitHub, that repository is called as central repository. So multiple people can see your repository if it is public. If it is private, nobody can see your repository. Then in our system, we will develop our project. Okay, now assume that this is my laptop. Now assume that this is my laptop. From this laptop, I want to perform some operations. I want to develop the project and I want to store my project in the GitHub repository. So here, three things will be available, guys. One is called working tree. One is called working tree. Another one is called staging area. And the third one is called local repository will be available. So when we are working with the GitHub repository, so here you can see one component in our local system. When we are performing operations in your laptop, okay, we installed Git client software. From the Git client software, we want to communicate with the Git central repository. When we are going to working on this, this is called our working tree. Working tree, nothing but our project folder, from where you want to do your coding, from where you want to perform your operations, that is called as working tree. Then after, there is a one more component called staging area. There is a one more component called staging area, and there is a third component is available, which is called as local repository. Which is called as local repository. Here, whatever the repository we created, this is called as central repository. So if you want to work with the Git repositories, then you need to understand this architecture. So we created account in the GitHub. Guys, all of you understand carefully. This is very important. We created account in the GitHub. In the GitHub account, we created one repository, that repository having one URL also. The repository we created in the GitHub is called as central repository, or we can also call it as a remote repository. Then in our laptop, we installed Git client software. Now in our laptop, we will develop the project and we need to store the project code into central repository. So multiple developers will be available. All the developers will be connected with this central repository. Now from the working tree, we will go to staging area. From the staging area, we will go to the local repository. From the local repository, we will go to central repository. So this is the process. So as a developer, we are going to write some code in our system. As a developer, we are going to write some code in our system. Then wherever you have done the project, that place is called your working tree. So where you will develop your code, basically our project folder is called, our workspace folder is called as working tree. Inside the working tree, we are going to create the project files, Java files, HTML files, CSS, images, everything we are going to create in the working tree. Once we create the files in the working tree, then we will add the files to the staging area. From the staging area, we will send the files to the local repository. From the staging area, we need to send the files to the local repository. From the local repository, we will send the files to the central repository. Central repository is also called as remote repository. Central repository is also called as a remote repository also. Are you guys able to understand? Working tree, staging area, local repository, central repository. Now working tree, we are going to represent our folder as a working tree by using one command called git init command. We are going to use one command. So once we install the git bash, once the git bash is available, so here you can execute some git commands. You can execute some git commands. Now from where you want to develop the project, in which folder your project is available. For example, I'm taking git practice here. Currently nothing is available. I want to consider this as my working tree. So open git bash from here. Once you open git bash from here, then you can execute one command called git init command. You can execute one command called git init command. When you execute git init command, it is initializing empty git repository. That means this folder is considered as my working tree. This folder is considered as my working tree. So to represent your folder as a working tree, we are going to use a command called git init command, working tree, where we are going to create the files. That folder is called as working tree. How to initialize our folder as a working tree? To initialize our folder as a working tree, then we will use git init command. So once we represented that as a git working tree, you can create some files. For example, I'm creating one test.java. One Java file I have created. Now this Java file I want to send to the GitHub central repository. My final code should be available in the central repository. Test.java file is created. So once the files are created in our working tree, now in our working tree, multiple files can be available. Test.java is available, and similarly, I'm taking one more file with a name called demo.java. So like this, multiple files are available. Test.java is available and demo.java is also available. Multiple Java files are available. Multiple Java files are available here. Now, which Java files that you want to send to the repository? Okay, so multiple files available. There is no rule that all the files I need to commit. Okay, so in the working tree, multiple files available. Out of these multiple files, which file that you want to commit? Which files that you want to commit? And what are the files you have created? What are the files you modified? You can check the status of the working tree by using git status command. So first I'm using git init command. Then after the init command, I'm using one more command called git status command. When I use git status command, it will tell me which files are modified. Untracked files. Boss, you created two files here. One is demo.java, another one is test.java. Two files are in the red color. That means those two files are newly created or modified. So you have done some changes in the working tree. When you make some changes in the working tree, those files will be displayed in the red color. Red color means you have some changes. You need to integrate your changes in the central repository. Okay, so first command I am executing is git init command. What is the purpose of git init command? The git init command is used to initialize the working tree. To represent our folder as a working tree, we are using this git init command. And to check the status of the working tree, we are using git status command. Okay, so two files are available. So in these two files, which file that you want to commit, that file we need to add to the staging area. So to add the files from the working tree to the staging area, we will use one command called git add command. We will use one command called git add command. So what is the purpose of this git add command? So which files that you want to commit, which files that you want to commit, those files you need to add to the staging area by using add command. So currently if you observe my git status, there are two files available. Those two files are in the red color. That means they are not ready for commit. So if you want to commit your files, you need to add the files to the staging area. Staging area will represent which files are eligible for commit, which files are not eligible for commit. To add a file to the staging area, I will use a command git add file name, which is demo.java. First, let me check the status. Git status, two files available, demo.java, test.java. Now let me use git add demo.java. I added demo file to the staging area. Check the status now, git status. So one file is in the green color, another file is in the red color. Green color means that file is ready to commit, and the red color file is not ready for commit. So in the working tree, you can create multiple files and you can modify the files. If you want to check the status of your working tree, then you can go for git status command. Git status command will show you what are the files newly created and what are the files you have modified. Then once it is done, what are the files you want to commit? You need to add the files to the staging area. In the working tree, 10 files available, but I don't want to commit 10 files. I want to commit only one file. I don't want to commit 10 files. I want to commit only one file. Which file that you want to commit, you add that file to the staging area. You add that file to the staging area. To add the file to the staging area, to add the files to the staging area, we are going to use a command called git add command. Git add command. So once I execute the add command for the demo file is in the green color, test file is in the red color. Once the files are added to the staging area, to commit the files to the local repository. Local repository means it will be created in our system only. Now here, to commit the files from the staging area to the local repository, we will use git commit command. We are going to use git commit command. What is the purpose of git commit command? Whatever the files you added to the staging area, those files we can commit to the git local repository. So to commit the files to the local repository, we are going to use a command called git commit. So when you are doing the git commit, you need to give a message. Why are you committing? You need to give a message. Why are you committing? Git commit -m message. Why are you committing? First commit. This is my first commit. Like this, we are going to use git commit command. So once you do the git commit command, one commit ID will be generated. Whenever you do the commit, one commit ID will be generated. What are the commits you have done? You can check by using git log command. When you see git log, Ashok has done the first commit. Initially, I configured my name, my email ID, right? So author, who committed that files? Who committed that files? It is tracking the date, time, who, and what is his email ID. Everything we can track by using this git log command. So this is committed by a user called Ashok. His name, his email ID, it is displaying. So what all the commits you have done, you can see by using log command. this is the commit ID which is generated. This is the commit ID which is generated. Once we see that commit ID, then it is in the local. It is not in the central. In my central, currently nothing is available. In my central, currently it is empty. So once you have done the local commit, then you need to send the changes from local repository to central repository. To send the changes from the local repository to the central repository, we will use a command called git push command. What is the command we are going to use, guys? We will use a command called git push command. What is the purpose of git push command? Git push command is used to send the changes from local repository to central repository. Okay, working tree is available, staging area available, local repository available, central repository is available. Central repository means the repository which we created in the GitHub, multiple developers will connect with the central repository to perform their code integrations. In our laptop, company will provide the GitHub access for us. So in our laptop, we are going to install Git client software. In our laptop, we are going to install Git client software. Then we are going to use working tree, staging area, local repository. What is working tree? Where we are making your files, where you are doing your project, the workspace folder, basically our project folder is called as a working tree. How to represent our folder as a working tree? To represent our folder as a working tree, we are going to use git init command, git initialization. So when you use git init command, your folder will be initialized as a git working tree. Then you can check the status of the working tree by using git status command, which files are modified, which files are newly created. You can track them by using git status command. When you have some new files or modified files, if you want to commit, first you need to add the files to the staging area. You need to add the files to the staging area. Staging area will represent which files you want to commit. Okay, which files are eligible for commit, those files will be added to staging area. How to add the files to the staging area? To add the files to the staging area, we are going to use a command called git add command. We are going to use a command called git add command, which is used to add the files to the staging area. Once the files are added to the staging area, then we need to commit the files. So to do the git commits, we are going to use a command called git commit command. Once we do the git commit, whenever we are doing a git commit, we need to give some message for the commit. When we are going to do the commit, we are going to use git commit. Okay, commit message will be available. Commit message will be available. That commit will go to the local repository. What all the commits you have done to the local repository, you can check it by using git log command. What all the commits you have done to the local repository, you can check it by using one command called git log command. Once your commits are completed, then you need to send the changes to the central repository. To send the changes to the central repository, we are going to use a command called git push command. So git push command is used to send the changes from local repository to our central repository. It is used to send the changes from the local repository to central repository. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? What are the commands that we have here? Git init command is available. Git status command available, git add command, git commit command, git log command, git push command is available. So can you guys tell me what is the purpose of git init command? Can you guys tell me what is the purpose of git init command? What is the purpose of git init command? To initialize the working tree. Git init command is used to initialize the working tree. So working tree nothing but our project folder. What is git status command? What is the purpose of git status command? To check the status of the working tree. Which files are newly created, which files are modified. We can check that status by using status command. What is git add command? What is the purpose of git add command? To add the files to the staging area. To add the files to the staging area, we will use add command, git add file name. What is the meaning of staging area, guys? What do you mean by staging area? What do you mean by staging area? Eligible for commit. The files which are added to the staging area, nothing but the files are eligible for commit. Then what is local repository? Where we will store the files in our local, right? So git commit command is going to commit the files to local repository. Local repository will be available in our system. How the Maven local repository is available? Similarly, Git local repository also will be available. How the Maven local repository available? Similarly, Git local repository also will be available. Then how to send the changes from local repository to the central repository? To send the changes from local repository to the central repository, what is the command available? Git push command is available. Git push command is available to send the changes from local repository to central repository. But here there is one small problem. When we are doing this push for first time, does my local repository know about the central repository? Did I configure this URL anywhere? So in the GitHub account, there are so many repositories available. Does my local repository know about the central repository URL? Does my local repository knows about the central repository URL? No. So you can go here. Guys, are you able to see .git folder when you execute git init command? Are you able to see the .git folder when you execute git init command? If anybody not able to see the .git, so that means it is a hidden file, guys. It is a hidden folder. Go to your system, open File Explorer options in your system. File Explorer options in your system. In the File Explorer, you can see View tab. There is an option called Show Hidden Files. By default, it will be available like this. Don't show hidden files. You select Show Hidden Files, and one more checkbox will be available. Hide extensions for the known file types. Uncheck this checkbox. Hide extensions for known file types. Uncheck this checkbox and select Show Hidden Files. How to open this one? You need to open this one by using File Explorer options. Go to File Explorer options. Go to View tab. In the View tab, select Show Hidden Files option and hide extensions for known file types by default selected. Uncheck this one. Click on Apply and OK. With this, you can see .git folder. Can you guys see that now? Can you guys see that now? Guys, I request all of you, don't join the classes from your mobile. I see many people are joining the classes from the mobile. So this is a project. Live practice will be available. If you join from your mobile, then you can't do the practice like this. You can't do the practice like this. So I request all of you to join from the laptop, not from your mobiles. I request all of you to join from the laptop, not from the mobiles. Okay. Now, once you have enabled that Show Hidden Files option, .git folder you can see. When you go to the .git folder, here config file will be available. Go to that config file and open that config file. When we open that config file, you can see that is there any link between local repository and central repository in the config file? Central repository URL is configured here. Central repository URL not configured here. Central repository URL configured here, or repository URL not configured. So currently, is there any link between our local repository and central repository? The link is not there between local repository and central repository. Link is not there. Currently, the link is not there. Okay. So to establish that link, guys, when you create the Git repository, they will give you the commands that you need to execute. Git remote, add origin, Git remote, first one, Git after commit is completed, last three commands available. Git branch, Git remote, Git push. So in which branch you want to commit? So what is this branch? We will talk about that later. Git remote is available. git remote add origin, your origin repository URL. Okay, so you need to execute last 3 commands in order to configure remote repository URL to the local repository and push your changes to the remote repository. Okay, so here you need to execute the last 3 commands here. Now let me go and execute my last 3 commands. The first one is git branch. When you create the repository, it will show you the commands. You take the last command, that is git branch command, paste it. Then once it is pasted, then next one, let me go and execute the second one, last but one, git remote command, git remote add origin URL, repository URL, to which repository you want to do the commit. Take this one and add it. So once you add this repository, then you check your config file. Earlier, the repository URL not available in the config file. Now the repository URL came to the config file. So now my config file knows that to which central repository that code should be stored. Okay, so by using that remote add command, I'm able to establish the link. Once you establish the link, then you take this git push command. Git push command is used to send the changes from local repository to central. Already I have done the commit in the local. Now from the local, I want to send the changes to central repository. For that, we need to go for git push command. Execute this git push command. When we execute this git push command first time, it will ask your credentials, guys. It will ask you to log in. So it is opening one window. Sign in with your browser. It will ask you to enter your, it will ask you to sign in with your browser. If you have a token, you can give the token also. If you don't have a token, then you can use sign in with your browser. I will show you how to generate the token also. First, let me go with the sign in with your browser. Click on sign in with your browser. Then it is opening the GitHub page to log in, guys. It is opening GitHub page to log in. Let me log in into my GitHub account. Let me log into my GitHub account again. It is asking me to enter the SMS code. I will two-factor authentication I have enabled by my repository, guys. Yeah, I got the code 603118. Yes, I have done login successfully. When I log in successfully, then I am able to do my push operation. So when I have done my push operation, my code is sent to central repository. Earlier, my central repository is empty. Now when I refresh, now you can see that the demo.java file is added to central repository. Now anybody who knows my URL, they can access my repository. So this is my central repository URL. This is my central repository URL. So now my file is added to the central repository URL. These 3 commands I have executed in the last, right? Git branch command, git remote add command. These are only one-time executable, guys. Only first time we need to execute these commands to establish the link between local repository and central repository. I will show you one simple approach. Let me close this. Okay, let me delete this repository, guys. I don't need it. I will do it from once again from the scratch. Observe carefully. I'm deleting this repository. I understand it. I'm going to delete it. Okay, delete this repository. Perfect. My repository is deleted. Now I want to do it from the scratch again. Let me delete everything from my folder. So my working tree is also not available. I have removed everything here. I have removed everything here. Now, so let me go to the GitHub. Guys, observe carefully. I'm repeating the process. How to do first commit to the Git central repository. Create new repository. Click on new. Now repository name JRTP 27 app I'm giving. Okay, repository name, then description. I'm creating the repository as a public. Okay, then click on create repository. So if you don't know how to do the commits first time, simple. Once your repository is created, just to copy this script, guys. So echo command, which is used to create a readme file, git init command to initialize that working tree, add command, whatever the readme file we are creating, add that to the staging area, then do the git commit, first commit, then do the branching. What is branch we will discuss later. Just you need to take this command and execute for time being. Then git remote command to add the remote repository URL to the working tree, then git push command. Just once a repository is created, copy this script, go to your git bash. Currently nothing is available in my folder. Currently nothing is available in the folder. Right click on this one, open the git bash, open the git bash. In this git bash, just you paste the script you copied from the git repository. Now right click, paste. All the commands I am pasting and I am executing at a time. Then your repository will be initialized, readme file will be added, committed and pushed also. I'm able to push the changes to central repository just by copying the script they are giving. Now when you refresh, now you can see that the file is added to the remote repository, central repository. Basically you just create the repository, and you take the script and you execute that in the git bash directly. When you do the script for first time, whenever you do the push for first time, it will ask your credentials. Second time it will not ask your credentials. Why? Because whenever you execute the git push command, it will take your credentials, it will store your credentials into Windows operating system. So if you want to see the credentials which are stored, go to manage Windows credentials. There is an option called manage Windows credentials option will be available. So first time when you do the git push, your credentials will ask. It will ask credentials. Once you enter the credentials, you go to control panel, user accounts, credential manager, Windows credentials available. If you see my GitHub credentials, whatever I entered today, they have stored here. That's why second time it is not asking my credentials. For you also, when you do the push for first time, then only it will ask the credentials and it will store the credentials here. When you execute the push second time, it will not ask your credentials. Are you able to follow me now? So can anyone share the screen and can you do this practice in front of all the people, guys who joined from the laptop? I will give the permission to share your screen. So I want you to show me, create the Git repository and push your changes to the Git repository. Okay. Who want to do that? Chandrasekhar want to do that. Mr. Chandra, can you unmute your mic, Chandra?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, hi Chandra. Can you share your
audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. You can share your screen now.
Yeah. I created, sir. Git.
Okay. You go back and create the repository again. Create a new repository. Guys, all of you, observe. Chandrasekhar is going to do the practice in front of us now. Create a new repository. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. New. Give the name. Any name you can give, no problem. Yes. New project. Give the description. Yes. Public repository. Create the repository. Perfect. So with this, Chandrasekhar repository got created, guys. It is a brand new repository. It is a public repository. URL is also available. Chandra, copy the script below. Not URL, copy the script below. Yeah. So guys, observe. When you are doing the commit for first time, you just take the script and execute. That's it. You no need to remember all these commands also. Just you copy the script, first script. There is a copy available. Click on that symbol. Yeah, copy that. Now go to your folder, close the Git bash. Close the Git bash. Go to a new folder. Yeah, delete all these things. Delete all these things. So can you do one thing? Can you 1 minute? Yeah. Now open Git bash here.
Okay.
Open Git bash. Right click and open Git bash.
Okay.
Open Git bash. Yes. Now just right click and paste the script, guys. Whatever you copied, just paste it. So in this, wait. In this script, guys, echo command is available. The first command is used create a file. Basically, echo is a Linux command which is going to create the file called readme.md file. Then after that, git init command, which is used to initialize the working tree. Git add command, whatever the readme file is created in the first command, that command we are adding to the staging area in the third command. Then git commit command is available, which is used to commit the files to the local repository. Then branch command we are executing. We don't know what is branch this moment. In the future classes, we will understand what is branch. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will discuss about what is branch command. Then git remote command, add origin repository URL. So here we are establishing the link between our working tree and the central repository. So whenever I do the push, it should go to which central repository. That central repository we are configuring by using remote command. Then git push command to send the changes from the local repository to central repository. Yeah, now execute it. Just paste and execute. That's it. Now see, he is executing the script. Then direct, he is asking for login. He is doing the push for first time. Now you can see Chandra, one window open where you need to log in into your Git account. Yes, sign in with your browser. Yeah, you log in into your GitHub account, your email ID and password. This will ask only for first time. When you do the push for first time, then only it will ask your credentials, guys. So once, yeah, spelling mistake, gmail.com. Yes, password. Then sign in. Yeah, got it. Ask me later. So he authorize the request. First time you need to do this. Yeah, successfully you logged in. Now go to git bash. Now you can see your push is successful. Now Chandra, do one thing. Refresh your Git repository. Yes, readme file is added to the central repository. So when he do that operation for first time, it is asking to log into the GitHub account. Then his push is successful. Now Chandra, go to git bash or go to your working tree. Go to your.
Okay.
Currently, we have only readme file. Create one new file here. Just right click, new text file. New text file. You give any name for that. Demo.java or test.java. Yeah, that's it. Fine. Now go to git bash. Execute a command called git status command. Now, guys, can you see here? Chandra, for your Java file, .txt is coming by default. You need to remove that. Go to File Explorer options. In your system, go to File Explorer options. Not that. File Explorer options. Close this window. File Explorer options. Type it once again. Search File Explorer options.
Okay.
File Explorer options. Yes, settings. In the settings, first option. We go to View tab. Yeah, show hidden files. Enable that setting and hide extension for known file types. Remove that. Apply. Yes. Now, okay. Remove the .txt extension for your Java file. Remove the .txt. Rename it.
Okay.
Yes. Save it. Yes. Now close this one. Go to git bash and execute a command called git status command. Guys, now see what is the purpose of git state. His working tree is already initialized. He created one file called readme. He committed. He pushed also. Now second time, test.java file is created. New file. As it is a new file, it is displaying in the red color. Git status command. So the file is in the working tree, but not eligible for commit. So if we want to commit the file, we need to add the file to the staging area. To add the file to the staging area, we need to execute git add command. Can you execute git add space file name? Your file name, test.java. That's it. Enter. Now check the status again. Git status. Yes. Now see, earlier the file is in the red color. Now the file is in the green color. Red color means that file is not eligible for commit. Green color means the file is eligible for commit. Now, Chandra, can you commit the file now? Git commit -m. -m represents message. What is the reason for the commit? Single quote, give a message. Practice. Anything, any message you can give. Yes, enter. Yes, his commit is completed. Can you do git log now? Check the log. Commits, how many commits you have done, you can check it. So earlier you already committed that readme file. First commit completed. Now this is your second commit. Practice is the second commit. For every commit, it is generating one commit ID. How many commits you have done, you can track it. This is called monitored access. Who committed, when committed, why committed, what committed. GitHub will track everything. So these 2 commits are done by Chandra. Now, can you go to the central repository and can you check your file is there in the central repository or not? Whatever the test file you created, is it there in the central repository or not? Refresh. File is available or not available? Not available.
Not
Because he has just done the git commit. Commit means it will go to local repository only. Now the file should go to remote repository. How to send the file to the central repository from the local? Git push command. Execute git push command. When you execute git push second time, it will not ask the credentials. Push will ask only first time. Enter. Yes. Directly, the changes are pushed to the central repository. Now go to central repository and refresh. Yes. Now you can see test.java. Now create one more file and push to the central. Do the process. Repeat the process from starting. Guys, observe carefully. He is going to create a new file. I want him to push the file to the central repository. He created a new file. So what is the first step? First, clear the screen. Execute clear command. Yeah, now enter. Yes, now. First, he is checking the status of the working tree. There is one file in the red color. That means it is a either modified file or a new file. He need to commit that file. Yo, what is the process to commit it?
Git add.
Yeah, first we need to add the file to the staging area. In the working tree, you can have n number of new files, but which files you want to commit? Add the file to the staging area by using git add command. Yes. How to check the status again? Check it.
The file should be green. So now
Yes. The file is added to staging area. Now, how to commit and push? Any message you can give. Commit completed. When you do the commit, will it go to the local repository or central repository? Local.
Local repository.
Send to the central repository. Push command. You can check the log. Commits we have done. 3 commits we have done. Okay. Then send it to the central repository. Git push command. So it is not asking your credentials. Suppose if you want to work with 2 GitHub accounts, suppose you have 2 GitHub accounts, then you need to remove the credentials. Where the Git credentials are stored? Chandra, can you go and delete your Git credentials? Manage credentials. Search for that. Manage credential manager. Yes. Credential manager in the Windows. Windows credentials. Go to the GitHub. Top. In the top you have GitHub. Yes.
Yeah.
You used push. You stored your details now. If you click on remove, then the credentials will be removed from that credential manager. Click on remove. Yes, your credentials will be removed. When you want to work with multiple Git accounts, you need to remove the saved credentials. Now, when you do the push, again it will ask the credential. If credentials are not stored here, it will ask the credentials when you do the push. First time it will ask the credentials. If you enter, it will save the credentials in the credential manager. From second time, it will not ask you that. So this is very basic operation that we are able to do by using Git, guys. So I hope, Chandra, thank you, Chandra. So Chandra, is a fresher or working person?
Yeah, But I'm fresher.
You're fresher.
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand how to work with the
Yeah.
Git repository now.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion? How you
It's,
are? How this course is helping you, Chandra? Where are you from?
I'm from Hyderabad.
You're from Hyderabad. Where do you stay in
Yeah.
Hyderabad?
Chintal. Balanagar near.
Chintal.
Near Balanagar.
Chintal Ganesh Nagar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was doing my BTech, I used to stay in the Chintal as a bachelor. Chintal Ganesh.
Okay. Yeah.
I stayed in the Chintal for 4 years. My college is near Gandhimaisama. My BTech.
Gandavasam is near.
Yeah. So you're from which college?
Yeah. I'm from Andhra College. Andhra, Vizag, Vishwanath Institute of Technology.
Okay. Now you are staying in Chintal. You came for
Yeah.
training.
Yeah. Previously, I'm worked as an employee. Now I'm looking for another job.
Okay. Good. Good, Chandra. I hope this course will help you to get the good job.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for doing the practice in the live class today.
Yeah.
Guys, I
Thank
hope you got the clarity how we are working with this Git repositories, right? So this is the first operation that we have done in the Git repository. This is our Git architecture, right? So we have created GitHub account, then we created central repository in the GitHub. Then in our local system, we have installed Git client software. Then we have the working tree, we have the staging area, we have the local repository. So to represent our working tree, we will use git init command. We will use git init command. Then we use git status command to check the status of the working tree. Then to add the files to the staging area, we use git add command. Then to commit the files from the staging area to the local repository, we will use git commit command. So once you do the commit, you can check the commit history by using git log command. To send the files to the central repository, we will use git push command. When you are doing the git push for first time, directly it will not allow you. So you need to use some branch command, remote add command, push origin. What is that origin? What is that branch? That we will discuss in the coming classes. So I have told you the simple approach. Whenever you create a repository, the script will come. Directly you take the script and execute for first time. So it will have all the commands that you need to execute. So once you have executed the script for first time, push command will ask your credentials. Once you enter the credentials, then it will save the credentials in the credential manager and your code will be pushed to central repository. So all of you, can you push your first commit? Can you do the first push to the central repository and share your repository URL? Whatever the practice our Chandra has done today, can you guys do the practice now? Can you guys see the practice now? And can you share your repository URL in the chat box? Yeah, very good. Very good. So I hope you got the clarity, basic clarity. I am not saying that our Git is completed, just we got the basic idea. Just we got the basic idea. Okay. So Git repository practicals we have done. We created one Git repository that is a public repository. So once the repository is created, copy the script from the Git repo and execute in the Git bash. Git bash is a client software to perform Git operations with the Git repository. When we do Git push for first time, it will ask us to log in into our GitHub account. When we execute Git push for first time, it will ask for credentials. It will ask for Git account credentials or token. I will show you how to use the token also. Token based authentication also we can do. When we execute Git push for first time, it will ask for Git account credentials or Git token. Our credentials will be stored into Windows Credential Manager. If you want to use two different accounts, then you need to remove the credentials, Git credentials, saved credentials from the Credential Manager. It will save our Git account credentials in Windows Credential Manager. Credential Manager. We can remove if we want to connect with a different GitHub account, then we have to remove those credentials. Git repository practicals. Create one Git repository. That repository we are creating is a public repository. Once the repository is created, it will generate some script for us. So take that script and execute that script in the Git bash. Then your first push will go to the central repository. When you are doing the first push to the central repository, it will ask for the credentials. You enter the credentials. First time only it will ask the credentials. Your credentials will be stored into the credential manager. So if you want to connect with a different GitHub account, then we have to remove those credentials. We have to remove those credentials. Are you clear? Echo command is used to create the file. Jordan, echo command, first line that you copy from the script, it is used to create a file. Echo is a Linux command basically. It is used to write the data to the readme.md file. First command that you see, it will create the file. That's it. Okay. And today we discussed about some git bash commands also. What are the git bash commands we have seen today? One is git init command to initialize the working tree. Then we have seen git status command to check the staging area status. And we have seen add command to add the files to the staging area. And we have seen git commit command, send the files from staging area to local repository. And we have seen git log command to check commit history. To check commit history, we will go for log command. And we have seen git push command, which is used to send the files from local repository to central repository. Git push command is used to send the files from local repository to central repository. So these are the commands we have discussed in the today's session. Okay. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Yeah, good guys. Thank you. So with this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue tomorrow. Another 2 classes or 3 classes we'll take for the GitHub. Today, we just understood the introduction part. What is version control software and why we need to go for version control software? What is GitHub? How to set up environment to practice GitHub, and basic architecture that we understood. Fundamentals. If you want to work with the GitHub, you need to know the GitHub architecture. We discussed about the architecture and we have done the practice. So we are able to do the git commit and we are able to do the git push by using git bash commands. So tomorrow we are going to understand some advanced commands in the git bash. Okay. So another 2 to 3 classes, another 2 to 3 classes we are going to work on git bash only. Okay, good. Thank you guys. Now, any questions, anybody? You can unmute and you can ask me. I will upload the notes in the portal.
Yeah, good morning, Ashok.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yes, Ashok, that day we discussed about the AI tools. Can you take one workshop on AI tools, how we can integrate
Sure,
with our development process?
Sure. We will work on that, sir.
One workshop like the Sunday you are taking some how to use the real-time tools and how to be more efficient in our developing process. If you could
AI
guide
tool?
us. AI tools, with the help of AI tools, how can we means development process, how can we speed up the
Sure,
process?
sure. We'll do that. We'll do that.
One
Ashok
workshop,
sir,
sir, please.
Yeah, hi.
sir, in git log, if we hit the command of git log, it would be displaying entire commit history, right?
Yes, sir.
If we want to limit or if we want to know only last 5 commits or 10 commits, did we have any way?
To check only last 10 commit logs. I need to check
Yeah.
it. Let me check it once. I never used it. Let me check once.
Okay, because in real time it would be some hundreds of commits across the team
But
would be doing.
you don't need to worry about the hundreds of commits because it will display from the top only. It will display the latest commits only. It will not display from the bottom.
Okay.
Only latest commits will come on the top. So
Because in my experience, what we have faced is one developer committed one thing, second developer committed another thing. When second developer committed his work, we faced issues. Then people started investigating. We have seen each and every file commit history. Instead of going, now I came to know we can see commit log, git commit log.
yes. Git, so there are some advanced commands. Git commit log is there. Whatever the bad commits, how to find the bad commits, how to revert the commits. So there are so many commands available. Tomorrow, another 2 to 3 days. I told you, right? We are
Yeah.
going to understand.
Okay, sir.
So
Thank you.
Maven tool is completed, sir. Maven tool is completed, sir.
Maven is completed, sir. Gradle I have given video, so please go through the Gradle. If you are not able to understand, I will explain the Gradle also in the class. And we are talking about the Git now.
Okay, sir. Maven
But
is
sir, you
completed.
was talking about that 1 week will be continue Maven.
Your voice is not clear for me.
Hello, sir. Is
Yeah,
it
hi.
audible? Sir, you are telling that Maven will be 1 week class or something that.
Sir, speak loudly, sir. I can't hear you properly.
I am sending message, sir.
Yeah, please send a message to me.
Good morning, Ashok sir.
Yeah, very good morning.
Sir, after running git push command, sir, I have inserted
Again, your voice is also breaking for me.
Good morning, given credentials like username and password factor like authentication failed. What would be the solution, sir?
Your username and password?
Sir, I have entered the username and password, and after that, I am getting sir authentication failed. So that push is not working. Means,
Authentication failed. That means you are not giving the correct credentials, sir.
Yes, sir. Authentication failed. But sir, that credential is working. Once I'm opening at in GitHub, like in Chrome, it's opening, sir.
Okay, I will check that, sir. I will check that in the tomorrow session.
One question, Ashok.
Please tell me.
Hello.
No.
Like we are reading that will save before centralize before saving local repo. So here what is local repo? Dot git is local repo or
No, sir.
dot
Windows.
m2?
No, not dot git here. So I will show you where the Git local repository will be available.
Okay, that another thing is yesterday I gone
One
through
minute.
that.
1 minute. 1 minute. Dilip Singh, I think you don't have permission for that. So I think your credentials, another credentials are stored in the Git Windows Credential Manager. You delete those credentials and try again.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Dilip here.
Yeah, hi Dilip.
Where I can check the credentials, sir?
I told you na Windows Credential Manager. I have shown you.
Okay. I have to delete the credential, right?
Your another account credentials are stored there. You delete them.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure. Let me check. Thank you.
Sir, if I have another laptop where I want to commit updated code for the same file, right, sir? Can I do that from the second laptop, sir?
You can do it, sir, but first you need to take the pull, sir. So let me explain all the commands, then you will get the clarity. How to do the commits from different laptops.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Also, can you please upload this architecture diagram and these
I sent in
PPTs,
the
sir?
group, sir, already.
Sir?
Oh, hi, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, I cannot able to push a file from local repo to a central repository.
So tomorrow I will check your issue, sir. So please make sure that you are using correct URL and make sure correct credentials. And in the Windows Credential Manager, check your previous account are stored or not. Delete that. Still, if you are facing the issue, just post in the group. I will check it. Or tomorrow I will take your screen share.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
few question is left. I was asking. Like yesterday I gone through that Gradle video which you shared linked.
Yep.
But that video is like I mean we are habitual. You explain one concept 4 times, 3 times at least. But that was feeling like very fast forward. I was not
Yes,
able
sir.
to understand that.
If you are not able to understand, no problem. I will discuss in the class once again.
Okay, just please one last question. Like in yesterday we read that Maven will I mean Maven help us to bring I mean required libraries like Spring Context, Spring Bean, Spring Core, right?
Correct.
So I read somewhere that IOC also helped us to set up required dependency and what is that IOC use Maven libraries which Maven brings, or he also brings some library or
No,
dependency
no,
by.
no, sir. Maven will bring the libraries. IOC is basically one Java class in the Spring framework which will perform the dependency injection.
I mean, he uses those libraries which Maven brings.
Whatever the libraries Maven downloaded, IOC will use them and IOC will perform the dependency. IOC is a pure Spring concept. It will create the objects for your Java classes. It will perform the dependency injection.
Got it.
Maven is a build tool. It will download the jar files. Spring jar file will be downloaded by Maven. In that jar file, IOC will be available, which will perform dependency injection. Maven
Okay,
dependencies are different. Dependency injection is different.
okay, that libraries or whatever we download from spring.starter.io, those Maven do.
Yes, Maven will do that. Correct.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.
Hello, Ashok.
Yeah, yeah, Ashok sir. Good morning. Sir, can we have one session on GitLab?
GitLab session. Yes, sir. Sure. We will take one workshop on the GitLab.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Ashok, I have joined today, so like, can I get previous 2 days video?
If you are in the videos plan, you will get those, sir. Just check with the admin team once.
Okay.
Sir, on the JDK JRE issues, sir, that user settings we have and we have the system settings, right, sir? But some laptops I don't have the access to that system settings, sir. Does those settings will have overridden permissions compared to user settings, sir?
You can do in the user settings, sir. No problem.
Right, sir. But system settings, it is overriding those properties, sir. Even though I'm changing here Java home and everything, it is not
Let's
reflecting.
do one thing, sir. Tomorrow I will look into all these issues. So tomorrow I will take the screen share of the people who are facing the problems. I will resolve these things. Okay.
Okay, sir. Eclipse uses the Java home and path, sir, or it will use its own thing, sir?
Java path it will use.
Oh, from the system only, right, sir?
Yeah.
Right. Because that runtime JRE and compiler, right, sir?
Yeah, tomorrow I will check your ID, sir. Tomorrow I will check your ID. I will check what is the problem you are facing. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Good morning, sir. Gunjan Kumar here.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Sir, yesterday I was practicing Maven in IntelliJ IDEA. Sir, after running means once I open terminal, in that, sir, by default is coming like terminal or something. Means I tried to go to the command prompt, but sir, I'm not getting that options. I'm getting two options. Means first one was GitHub and second one was setting options. So I click on setting.
ठीक गुंजन ऐसा बोले तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आएगा. कल एक बार आपका स्क्रीन शेयर लेके मैं देखता हूँ सर. ठीक है. कल मॉर्निंग में पूरा डाउट्स को संभाल लेता हूँ.
I changed from means earlier it was something I changed from cmd.exe, but it's not open. So command prompt.
I will check it. I will check it in the tomorrow session. First, I will solve all your doubts tomorrow. Then I will continue. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir.
Good guys. Thank you. I'm stopping for now. We'll meet tomorrow. Have a great day. Please practice GitHub.